serious, what is the biggest secret you've kept from your parents? I make more money than I'll let on. My parents have, and will always be the I take care of you all your life, time for you to pay it back type of parent. Except there is no end to this debt. So I hide money from them, so they can't take advantage of me. Same. The entire time I was growing up, my mom constantly reminded me she could legally sue me for $10k when I was 18 for raising me. This is my biological mother. I grew up scared. With this threat over my head, it seemed pointless to try to make anything of myself. By the time I was old enough to know better, the mentality had sunk in, and I was pretty much a huge loser until I was about 22. Edit to clarify. No, your parents cannot sue you for the cost of raising you. It was said to incite fear and generally be an asshole parent. I recorded Gundam Wing Endless Waltz over my sister's high school graduation video. It's been about 18 years, but I still feel bad. 1. That's a good film. 2. High school graduation is insanely boring, and literally nobody would have ever watched that recording. I met the guy my mom told me was my real father. We did a DNA test and there is a 0% chance. He even took me on a whitewater rafting trip with his wife and son. I've never told her. I actually did know why my laptop wasn't working. I spilt a fair bit of Jack Daniels on it. Same. Accidentally downloaded some unofficial version of Minecraft Forge which gave my computer a virus. My dad doesn't know that I was suspended due to grades for a semester in college. I've never understood that. Your grades are bad. Suspended from school. How in the duck is that supposed to help your grades? I guess it gives a good excuse to take a step back and sort out whatever in your life is making study difficult. That I used to sneak out of the house from our second-story bathroom window to go nightclubbing with my friends after my parents went to bed. That I was molested as a kid and suicidal 4 years afterwards. They knew I had a nervous breakdown freshman year of high school and was suicidal at 15. They didn't know I'd been messed up since I was 10. Damn, why won't you tell them? This breaks my heart. My son is 13, and I want him to know that it's okay to be depressed, regardless of the cause, and that if he came to me, I would go to the ends of the earth to help him. How come you don't think your parents would do that for you? Honestly curious. My relationship with my parents was never good. Talking to them about anything is still impossible. My father is a cliche of post-war flashbacks and PTSD that I lived in fear of most of my life, and my mother is an emotionally battered narcissist. I don't really know. I'm not someone qualified to diagnose her. There is nothing quite like living with a man who has threatened to commit a murder/suicide if his wife left, and a woman who, when in 6th grade you try to talk about your emotional problems, flips the situation and begins crying about her problems/what happened to her growing up/how she suffered, and how you can't truly understand. My grandparents were the people I was able to talk to about my problems, but even they didn't know everything. My wife does. I have no secrets from her. Being sexually abused by my cousins, which my mom would leave me at their house to go to the casino a lot as a kid. I'm so sorry. The same with me. When I was around 10 with my cousin, she babysat me a lot. Now she still tries to be close with me, and I just try to go with it. My parents would be devastated if they knew. I'm a straight man. I was fondled multiple times as a child by my dirtbag father's coke dealer. Maybe I was traded. I don't know. I have had trouble with relationships and being faithful with partners my whole life until I attacked what happened to me head on. Toughest thing I ever had to do was tell my mom this happened to her son. The dealer killed himself about 10 years back, so I couldn't get justice. I just try to be a survivor. My parents divorced when I was 8. My dad left, and I never saw much of him. Among other issues, he came out to my brother and I before they divorced. I never told my mother that he was gay. My father passed in 2011, my mother in 2017. I think she had an idea, but we never discussed it. He was born in 1945, before such a thing was accepted and attempted at passing. Apostrophe. Exactly. I suspect my dad is too, but he keeps it in and now he's depressed, but it might be other stuff he's been through. He was even beaten to write with his right hand. He was always told he was wrong and to change for society. He really loves my mum. At best he's maybe B. My mum doesn't know I've been arrested twice, one time with my dad. Story time. First time was on a night out in central London with bunch of my mates. Stepped out of the club for a second to grab some cash, then bouncers refused to let me in until I got some water from the shop across the road. Did that and they refused me, told me to have more water, then still wouldn't let me in. So spent the rest of the night arguing with bouncers and getting carried out after running in whilst they were distracted. Was adamant about getting my £10 entry fee back. Ended up having an argument with the manager until I got the money. Then as I was walking away police were blocking me. Tried pushing them out the way cause I was desperate for a kebab at that point. Ended up getting taken to the station and was in a cell for a night and hit with an £80 fine. Second time was out with my dad after going to the football and having some beers. Late in the night, we were in a pub with a narrow corridor at the entrance, and whilst my dad was there texting his missus, some fella bumped into him and started on him. So I waded in to break it up, and the three of us spilled into the street. I ended up getting cuffed in the middle of the road and carted off to the station. My old man was dragged in behind me whilst I was getting processed. Next morning a copper, who actually went to school with my dad, had to ring my grandma to pick us up. She was worried and asked them if they knew where I was and got a bit of a shock when they said I was there as well. Luckily the incident was caught on CCTV so no fine that time. When I was at Walmart with my mom and I stole 2 of those big cartons full of Pokemon cards. Took the cards and stuffed them in my back pocket. I planned the whole robbery a week before. I was the best robber at 9. When I was in the 7th grade I started to get into pronoun and my favorite, for some reason, was guy on guy stuff, even though I'm a girl. Anyways, I didn't know how anything but YouTube worked, so I ended up downloading like 3 gay pronoun videos on my phone. And I had an Android, so when I deleted the videos the download history was still in my phone. For some reason my mom took my phone and went through it and sat me down and asked me about the pronoun she found on it. But for some more context I had to keep my phone in the living room at night and could only have it during the day. Now I'm not proud of this, but I'm a good liar. But in this situation I didn't have to do much lying. Because as soon as I started crying and saying I didn't do it, she immediately believed me and blamed it on my stepdad, saying that she had a suspicion that he was gay through their whole relationship and all that. After that she never confronted him and just continued to stay with him, even though she thought he was gay, and that's when I realized my mom was a gold digger. When I was around 14 I overheard my parents arguing. My mom was yelling at my dad about some pronoun searches on the computer. It was really me that was going on the computer in their room and watching pronoun. He kept denying it and she kept calling him liar. He slept in the guest bedroom for a month after that fight. I was heavily addicted to morphine for my entire time at university. Hope you're better now. Much better, thank you. My depression and the fact I nearly failed out of first year because I couldn't handle university. I hope you're doing better now. I graduated but the depression still remains to an extent. Thank you though. I used to watch South Park when they thought I was sleeping. I was accused of rape when I was 17, legally an adult in Texas, so they didn't have to tell them, and a detective took my phone for the school day to verify the texts proving the encounter was consensual were real. Really weird time in my life, having to deal with the fallout at school and not telling them the truth. My location for the past 25 years. That I constantly fantasized about murdering my verbally and physically abusive stepfather and then killing myself when I was a teen. He treated my mom like shit, and one day he punched me in the face for not washing my dirty dishes, which left a permanent gash above my eyebrow. I was really depressed and wanted to die, so I thought that I may as well take him with me. I always tried to talk myself into finding some way to kill him, but I never could go through with it. Close saint I ever came to doing something was when he was asleep on the couch and my mom was gone to work. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and just stood over him for a few minutes, contemplating if I should do it or not. Of course, I never did. Thankfully, he and my mom separated less than a year after that incident. My depression was minimized tremendously after that. Seriously though, duck that guy. That my sister is gay. She openly admits it to everyone, except for my family. She opened up to me, eventually, but both my parents and older brother don't know about it. Since then we've become a lot closer than when we were kids. When I was 17 I rented Not Another Teen Movie, watched it, and returned it without them finding out. They wouldn't have approved. I have been keeping the fact I was sexually assaulted at 13 a secret for years. I sold pot in high school, which is nothing compared to your stories because, damn, this is the darkest thread I've ever seen. I'm sorry this world is shit. Hopefully you will find serenity. My dad traded him being killed for sexual favors with me for an extended period of time when I was a teen. I told my mom about some of the smaller stuff and she didn't believe me, so I didn't even try. My husband is supportive. I was a high-functioning depressed alcoholic for my whole college life. I just pay escorts to show as my girlfriend, so they would stop telling their friends to hook me up with their daughters. Every gathering they would show up, meet everyone, and always have to leave early. I pay by hour.